Growing up, young man Noza had no rhythm. Alright, let's be honest here. I still don't really got it like that. But in today's video, we'll be showing a player who doesn't have that Elena rhythm, how to use that drive gauge, and how to use those legs effectively. With that said, let's get into it. Okay, immediately off rip, I always gotta say something about it. Always, you know what I mean? Every time that you find yourself in this situation, I need some sort of input from you. Because if you just keep trying to back to block these, you know, you're not gonna get any value. First and foremost, obviously, because anti-airing is anti-airing. We've already talked about that in multiple different videos and everything like that. But it's just the idea that you're putting yourself in a situation where you now have to hold a certain level of mix, right? That being, is he gonna try and walk up throw or shimmy you, and you just put yourself in an unnecessary guessing situation. So what I've been noticing is that, especially when it comes to your button drive rush, using your crouching medium punch drive rush, right? What you can start to do is that you can go for your drive rush option, right? And then you can go for crouching medium kick. The reason why we go for crouching light kick here is if your opponent's trying to walk back, they get caught, right? On top of which, it links right back into standing medium. So then if you want to, you can still get this route here, push them towards a corner, and then force them to guess off of strike or throw, right? So going for this option here is very, very nice. And if you can master adding a little bit of a delay to it, so it makes them want to try and throw tech, it's just absolutely perfect. And if you want to spend the extra cash on it, you can as well, right? Right into some sort of mix. Ooh, okay. So apparently we're not awake today. Why are we not awake? Okay. At the diamond D3 level, bro, there's no reason why this shouldn't have been a reaction. He did this. This is like, okay, I now have DI'd you. You will now feel my punishment. One of the biggest things about Elena as a whole is the fact that she has some very big punish counter damage, right? Being able to optimize this and hurt your opponent for going for such an option is super freaking important, right? Just depending on, you just got to learn the routing. And the key part about Elena is learning the routing, because if you don't learn the routing, then just quite literally no point to learning this character otherwise, right? Just figuring out how you want to combo things, right, will be so important to getting necessary damage, especially when you want to kill, right? Obviously, you kind of have to tailor your routes based on the situation at hand. I switched up this route because we were low on drive gauge. However, if I wasn't low on drive gauge, or if I was looking for a kill combo, it just all depends on what we're looking for, right? I would go for this route into level 1 if I was looking to kill. If I'm not looking to kill, or I'm just looking to hurt you really bad, then I'll just take a different route. So if you clicked on this video, I'm sure you need some help. Lord knows I did at some point. But here's the thing, you want your favorite content creators to come and help you, but let's be real, they're charging like $60 per hour. You don't need that, but when I got you good. Over on this channel, I do free coaching sessions on Tuesdays and on Thursdays at 6:30 p.m. EST. So what does that look like? I essentially go over your matches. I give you tools so that you can succeed the next time you open up rank. So once again, join my Discord. Wait till I'm live either on Tuesdays or on Thursdays, 6:30 p.m. EST. Be there or be square. Back to the video. So when we're mashing on standing medium, listen, I love me some good standing medium kick, okay? I do. Here's the thing, if you acknowledge the counter hit here, you should definitely, you're like, okay, I pressed it once, that's plus. I pressed it a second time, that's counter hit. I press it the third time, I'm hit confirming. You feel me? Let me say that one more time. I press it once, that's a plus on block move. I press it a second time, like this, that's a counter hit. I press it the third time, that's a hit confirm. We should always be looking to hit confirm this, especially if we acknowledge the fact that it happened, right? So in this case here, we should be looking to get a little bit of damage, right? Depending on what you would like to do in that instance. You either take him to the corner, or you just decide to take a lighter route, although your ranging will really depend on this. But if you were to drop something like this, I wouldn't blame you. Right, and then now they're in a situation where there's a lot of pressure on us. It's pretty clear, I was going to talk about this more in the next round, but it's pretty clear we don't know which buttons to press at like which ranges, which is fine. Honestly, it's a new character, we're kind of learning and going through the motions. Some buttons that you need to be pressing a lot more is your standing heavy kick, right? So instead of jumping or instead of committing to slide here, now granted we're going to talk about slide in a little bit, but instead of committing to slide here, what we should be doing and trying to do is trying to utilize using our forward heavy punch. In these instances, we want to be using our crouching medium punch. These are the options that we're going to be using. Forward heavy punch is so that you can get that extra range and apply a little bit of extra pressure. What ends up happening when you press forward heavy punch, don't press it too often, right? Don't continually press it. But when you do decide to press it, it applies extra pressure to them, makes them kind of want to jump. And if they want to jump, that's when we DP them, right? So then when we continually press this, they're like, okay, let me jump. And then that's when we get blown up by jumps. So throwing this out once or twice will be generally pretty good, just to apply extra pressure. But generally we want to be throwing out the standing heavy kick, or sometimes the forward heavy kick, to get the little extra range on that, right? Just to apply a little extra pressure. What also ends up happening is that when you do press forward heavy kick, and you get a counter hit, you actually get a jab in there, right? The jab combos, and then you can drive rush off of it, or you can go into light scythe. Just depends on what you want to do there, right? It just applies extra pressure. Plus, if you get a counter hit, you can go into level 2 or level 3 off of it. And if you go into level 2, you get some very good damage off the board immediately. Let me tell you about something. Okay, here's the thing. Okay, off of this instance, we get hit. We managed to get a decent slide in. Cool, right? This is a money maker type situation here. This will allow you to gain a lot of LP here. Okay, you do your overhead. Okay, at this point, you have not been using this option, and we do need to discuss the fact that you are not using raw drive rush nearly enough. You need to scare your opponent, because right now you're using sweep a lot in order to circumvent the neutral, and instead of using that all the time, you do need to start utilizing drive rush a little bit more. Now with that being said, you hit the overhead raw diggity, which means you just go for it. What you do is that you then follow it up with another overhead. What are they thinking about? You think they're going to be ready for the second overhead? Nah, they're not going to be ready for the second overhead, right? And then now you could go for the third. Like literally, I'm not gonna lie to you, like if you can, at this rank, no one blocks overheads, right? And if you can take advantage of that, just run with it. Okay, no one blocks overheads, and if you go for this option, it's really gonna help you. Now granted, you can still go low, right? If you decide to want to go low, you can still go low, right? That option is still available to you. But sometimes going for the overhead is a lot more beneficial, just because of the damage that you get off of it when you decide to go for that route, right? So keep using the overhead. Honestly, like if your opponent, especially if your opponent is just simply down backing the entire time, going for the overhead here, right? If they're just like this the entire time, going for the overhead, it goes pretty far. Then you can go for another overhead. They can't mash on it because a lot of people feel like they can mash on Elena. Don't let them mash on it. Point blank simple. And you get massive value off of it. Like, just because they did that, look how much damage we shaved off of them, right? So it's clear that we don't know what buttons to press in different ranges, right? Obviously, because we're pressing forward heavy punch at this range. Forward heavy punch at this range is just begging to get punished, right? Here's the thing about how I want you to proceed moving forward is that when you're at certain ranges, I'm going to go over it in the homework section, but when you are working or operating at certain ranges, I want you to use different normals. So let me go over it. So if you are at this range, aka the close range, what I want you to start doing is to start using normals like stand light kick. And I want you to use normals like your crouch jab, okay? And lastly, the crouch light kick as well, okay? The reason why you want to use these normals because they're not only fast, but they have a decent range, a decent amount of range for their category or class, right? When you go for stand light kick is 5 frames, meaning that when you go for a 5 framer, they can't really, if they try to go for something that's like 8 or 9 frames or whatever, just to catch you trying to walk into them or try to press their they try to press their medium button into drive rush or medium button into a special move, right? It'll catch them out trying to press their medium button. Crouch jab is because while we're in this range, right, this is 4 frames, this is the fastest, your fastest normal. This will catch a lot of people trying to do fake things on you, and it is good to get it. It'll be very beneficial to get you out of pressure. Now, crouch light kick is a little bit more interesting. I believe it is 5 frames as well. The thing about the crouch light kick is that it will allow you to catch your opponent, especially when they like to walk back. Now, crouch light kick is a little bit of a special one because I want this one to be used more so while you're drive rushing, right? If you're gonna drive rush at this range, this is the button that I would like for you to press. Okay, if you're not going to be drive rushing, then I would suggest using your crouching medium kick. Crouching medium kick is just, we don't have to do the target combo. Let me be specific. No target combo. No TC, okay? No target combo. Just because you're not at a point where most people are not at the point where they can hit confirm it, unless you're 100% sure that you can hit that, or at least not even 100%. If you can say that you're 70% sure, then you might want to go for this option, right? But generally, you'll be using drive rush, crouching light kick to catch people walking back, or using crouching medium kick just to kind of check their feet and make sure that they're being a little bit honest when it comes to neutral and not just down backing the entire time. We'll get into the other mid-range and other options like that once they occur. So let's say we're here. So apparently we spaced ourselves out, okay? I would classify this as the mid-range, okay? While we're in the mid-range, this is where we want to start pressing standing heavy kick, our best friend. Me learning to use this button has been very beneficial. This will also be where you'll start using crouching medium punch. Reason being is because when you're at this range, crouching medium punch will be one of your best whip punishers, either for someone going for a drive rush or someone who is going for an option like just walking forward, right? I know you can't see that, it's okay, but it's just an option that we use when someone's trying to walk forward on you. So keep these options in mind. Now, we can use forward heavy kick at this range, right? We can use forward heavy kick, but one thing to note is that this is also the jumping range, right? So if the opponent wants to jump at you, this is probably the range you're gonna do it at. Okay, so pressing forward a heavy kick does come with its own set of risks, just because it has a lot of recovery. It does go very far, but the offset of it is that it has a lot of recovery. So keep these options in mind while you're playing. I know it's going to take a while for you to actually conceptualize these things and start implementing them in your game. However, these are the things that will be very important, very crucial moving forward. Hey, man, listen. Let's look at the economy. People always, this is your best friend. Oh my gosh, this is your best friend right here. Okay, this is your best friend, not this. You would think it's this. This is not your best friend. This is like your side chick. Okay, you're this right here is your best friend. You don't have this, you basically don't have this. Okay, you don't have drive gauge, you're cooked. Okay, so we hit a masterfully hit standing heavy kick, which is beautiful for this range. Is beautiful. We got value. Boom. Right? If we don't know what to do, we could go for sweep. If we don't know what to do, I'm robbing them. It's time. Give me that drive gauge, sit in that corner. Now what you about to do? Right? Now what you about to do about this situation, right? That's why, like I said, if you do get the punish counter, it is important that you assess your situation before releasing. Right? If you assess your situation beforehand, that's why this is your best friend. That's why your drive gauge is your best friend. Because if you get this is how we close out rounds. We don't use this, we don't close out as consistently. This is how we're going to make the change in your gameplay. Acknowledging the fact that you hit the punish counter and hitting a confirm afterwards. Now, once we get to the point of slightly more advancement, we can recognize that this is very low. Go for the level 2. Like I said, if you don't want to spend meter, there is an option for that as well, where you can just go for sweep into drive rush. Again, the option that we're not using in the neutral is drive rush, but keep this in mind. This is one of the things where I call this habit. This is very strong habit. It felt as though, okay, you hit a PC here. All right, I'm just gonna keep pressing it, right? So what you did is that you walk forward, you walk back, walk forward, right? You walk back, forward, heavy kick. You walk back, forward, heavy kick. Then you walk back, forward, heavy kick. Then the opponent is thinking, okay, he's going to walk back and forward heavy kick. And what did you do? You walk back and forward heavy kick. Like, ordinarily, this is a terrible decision. But against an opponent like yourself, who decided to use the same option over and over again, it just kind of sucked, right? You walk back, forward, heavy kick, walk back, forward, heavy kick, then you walk back, forward, heavy kick, then you walk back, and they were like, okay, word. So in these cases, instead of just walking back, forward, heavy kick, then you wiggle. So when you wiggle, now they're thinking like, hold on, this man is about to press forward heavy kick. Then you can take advantage of the situation, and you can kill them however you see fit, right? However you see fit, and then you win the round. Just because you are too habitual with your options. This is the same thing that goes towards fireball players. A lot of fireball players people who play fireball characters end up just walking back, fireball, walk back, fireball, walk back, fireball. So then when your opponent wants to get in, they'll acknowledge that fact that you're walking back and jump at you. And then you shoot your fireball thinking, oh, I'm safe, and you get blown up for it. You went for kicks. Okay, now I'm not guaranteeing that this will work. However, one option that you should go for is going for the forward medium kick. The forward medium kick has extra fireball invulnerability. So it allows you to get past these things a little bit easier, right? Now, granted, if you wanted to kill, it's probably not possible. However, you can definitely bring them close. Now, when I say not possible, obviously you can spend the extra bar and go into the third round without any bar. Now, in this case, naturally, I probably would go for an option like this. However, it's like, if you can avoid it, like if you're in a situation where you can avoid it, then obviously we want to go towards that option. However, otherwise, we kind of want to avoid this like the plague, right? And then we go for an overhead, and then we can kill them that way, right? Okay, so this is one of the situations here where you want to apply a little bit of extra pressure, right? We have not been using this option at all, and you're going to find that you're going to struggle quite a bit if you don't start utilizing this option. So while you're in neutral, again, sometimes it'll be beneficial to just run at your opponent. And it's up to you whether you want to spend the extra juice on the EX or not, but sometimes we want to just go for a drive rush, right? By spending the extra, you get better damage, you get better corner carry as well, right? Now they're in the corner, now they're afraid, now everything is looking a little bit more dicey for them, right? Just because we went for an option like this, right? Yes, we can press this normals a bunch, right? We can press it a bunch and everything is cool. But we also want to spread in a little bit. And it's not going to be all normals all the time. Don't just use normals the entire time. You want to be sprinkling in, wow, you want to be sprinkling in drive rush. Because if you don't sprinkle in drive rush, then your opponent just thinks that the only thing they have to deal with is your buttons. Okay, so let's suppose we're in this situation here, right? And we want to start being a little bit better about the situations that we're in. So let's say we're at this range here. If we're at this range, we want to use things like our stand light kick, right? On occasion, our stand light punch, right? We want to use our crouching light kick, right? These are some of the options that you want to be using. Now, when you're a little bit further out, when you're here, that's when forward heavy kick starts to shine, right? That's when, forward heavy punch starts to shine and forward heavy kick starts to shine. And those are the options that we want to start using at this range. Obviously, when we're here, we don't necessarily have any value or anything that we really want to push out. But if we're at, let's say, this range, sometimes it's good to check them with a little roll into the kicks here, right? Now, some of your opponents are going to acknowledge roll and try to jump at you, right? In those cases, we want to be ready at the very least with a crouching heavy punch, right? Now, crouching heavy punch, I want to forewarn you, it's not like a Shoto crouching heavy punch. It is not good for anti-airs. However, it is decent enough to where you can get to master at the very least with just using this. Okay, so with that being said, if you have these, definitely go for them. But if you don't have them, I understand. The other thing that I want you to start utilizing is that you start utilizing raw drive rush, right? You start utilizing raw drive rush. Now we can put them in very sick situations, make them guess for game, and kill them for it. Right? So learning how to use these normals is going to be very important to your success. Also, I get your loving of this move. I love it too. I do love me some of this button, but we do have to change it up. Right? We do have to add a couple more things there, right? Sometimes this sweep is kind of crazy. You know what I mean? It has some really good range to it. So sometimes going for sweep is not a bad option as well. People might say, oh, but the sweep is scrubby, or random sweep, blah, blah, blah. Brother, sweep is there to stop you from walking back on me the entire time. And for a character that doesn't really have the greatest of lows, we're gonna have to use it, okay? We use everything at our disposal to win. Cool. With that being said, running all this way and then going into crouching light kick is suboptimal. When you're at this range, this is why we want to start using crouching medium kick. This is just gives you that extra range that you're missing off the crouch light kick. However, if you can go for the crouching light kick, I would suggest it because it gives you the opportunity to shimmy your opponent as well. And then now they're hurting because they made this decision. And whatever you want to do off a standing heavy kick, do keep it in mind. A lot of the time you had enough drive gauge to go for an option, but you just didn't know how to utilize it. Hopefully this helps. And with that being said, any questions?